Did you sleep with someone who is much older than you? How it was? How did it happen? I was 18 and she was 40. Met at work. She was very forward with her intentions and made the first move and straight up asked me to take her home. Funny thing is she had a daughter 20 working there too. I thought she was into me because she would always smile at me, long eye contact, and I'd catch her staring at me quite a bit. But being shy and having a nah it's probably just in my head mentality, I never approached her. Then it just felt weird to try after getting with the mom. She was 44, I was 22. I was doing IT at her place of work, we are an MSB. She and I started talking and after about 2 days, I asked her to see a screening of Dazed Confused with me in the park. We went, had a great time, went back to her place, had a fun time. She sent me home with some snacks and a little pat on the bum. 1010 would do again. Me M22 and her F50ish. We both worked together and were always talking and joking. Started joking more inappropriately, eventually gave her my number and we ended up getting together. It was actually really good. She knew all kinds of different things and was some of the best sex I'd ever had. I was 24, she was 36. Family friend. I just messaged her on FB spontaneously and she asked what was for breakfast. Told her chorizo and eggs and she asked if she could join. I obliged. Relationship lasted 10 years. I lost my virginity at 32-33 with my supervisor who was around 45-50. I was talking to her and she was in the process of divorce and was living with her parents, so coming late at night she sometimes avoided showering due to the noise. I honestly wasn't even thinking about sex or anything. I told her, hey, so why do sleep at my apartment tonight, shower and I'll sleep on the sofa. Well, she came, she showered, we went to bed. We talked and she said she wouldn't mind being my first and that's how it went. Personally, I'm happy she was my first. It was a very mature experience. She let me experience something beautiful without making feel uncomfortable due to my at that moment out of shape person I was. Had a one-night stand with a 32-year-old when I was 22. So 10 years. We lived 5 hours apart. It turned into a second date a few months later. We've been married for 20 years now. Love my older wife. I was 19, she was 34 and stunning. It was great and gave me so much confidence. Glad it didn't develop into anything more as life experience gap at those ages is huge. I'm surprised how many older women are robbing the cradle. It was earlier this year. I 18F worked at this McDonald's during the school year and my store manager 29M was super friendly while he was training me in the beginning. Kinda escalated from there cause I felt comfortable enough being around him and he had a cool bike, lol. The funny thing is it was me who got fired in the end. Oh well. When I was 20, I went to a bar with my bestie and the door guy asked for my number. He was clearly older 40 but good looking and in great shape, so I decided to give it a chance. We ended up dating for a year. He seemed perfect, had a stable day job working in a bank, was responsible with money, even-tempered, and really health conscious. Turns out, he was the biggest cheater ever. Her name was Jan. She took me by the hand and made me a man. That one night she made everything alright. Me M:19. Her F:48. Met on a swingers website. It was fantastic. She was a bit awkward because she had kids older than me. Very accomplished woman, had her life together and had an open marriage. She had a great personality with the exact body type that I really go for. We started quite vanilla, but being in the swinging hot wife lifestyle and being a dominant to her husband, it honestly felt like she had at least a little experience and a lot of knowledge on just about every kink, so we just started trying everything. Fun times. When I was 22, I took up an offer by an older couple and fucked the wife in front of the tied-up husband. She was 38 yerk. It was nice. The tea after was hella weird. In my head I'm like, damn, where are y'all finding all these older women? Then I'm realizing they are all your superiors at work. Me M:19, her F:29. She was a little wacky. Some of the best sex of my life. Met on Tinder. She spilt the beer I bought her all over me and she jokingly said that she would make it up to me later. She painted 40K figurines and was really talented. 34F been sleeping with a now 61M for 5 years. It's amazing, genuinely. The foreplay is so intense and beautiful. He still stays hard for ages naturally, which surprised me. He is very alert to what turns me on. He is filthy and has looked after himself. The best part is how focused he is on satisfying me, and that brings him pleasure, and likewise for me wanting to pleasure him, so it's very balanced and equal. Met a woman at work. I was 29, I found out later she was 65. Looked younger for her age, always very well dressed, very classy looking, very feminine, manicured, hair and makeup perfectly done, jewelry etc. Very pleasant and laid back. It was fun, purely sexual. Her libido had not faded any with age, and the sex was great. The thing about women's vaginas losing their tone with age is purely a myth in my experience. We would flirt back and forth until one day she invited me to her place for coffee. I faked a sore neck, she offered to give me a massage, we kissed and off we went. Years later I discovered she had passed, and in reading her obit and doing the math, I figured out her age when we met. Is she never would tell me she would always joke I'm 80 and then laugh she was a very nice person and I'm glad we had met. Yes, when I was 27 I slept with a guy in his early 60s, I think he was 62. Found him on Scruff, we chatted for a few weeks, he drove an hour to my place, we had good sex, and then he took me out for Chipotle after and paid for it. Not only was he really good in bed, he was pretty gentlemanly too. I actually don't think I've ever had a bad time with a guy who was in his later 40s or older. First woman I ever slept with was 42. I was 29. She was gorgeous. Then she broke my heart a few days later. I was mid-20s and he was 14 years older and very hesitant to get involved with me. It was a few years before we gave it a real go, but it's now 10 years later and we're really happy together.